Hey y'all, so I promised at some point I would share mine and Ashton's adoption rescue story. I adopted Ashton from a pet rescue when she was 6 years old. She just turned 11 in May of 2022. The first time I held Ashton, she laid her head on my shoulder, just like a little baby, and it was almost like she was saying, "Mommy, where have you been all my life?" I feel the same way. I had a lot of depression. I cried a lot before I adopted Ashton, and God brought me through my depression. But to this day, I deal with a lot of things that if I didn't have Ashton, I think it would be harder. She is definitely a blessing. So I took her home, and she loved to cuddle and snuggle, and she still does to this day. She loves me to rock her and sing to her. We both love music. Ashton has anxiety and was on medication for that, so we've dealt with that. She was just diagnosed with seizures, so they had to pull her off that medication to put her on seizure meds. God's definitely met us in that place because it went a lot smoother than I thought it would. But back to the beginning, she lived on campus with me for a semester at college. Being visually impaired, that was challenging, so I'm really thankful that God blessed and worked it out that I could have Ashton with me. But Ashton is a happy girl. She loves to wag her tail. She loves her dog treats. She loves to ride in her stroller. She has arthritis, so she has a stroller. And she can walk, just not for very long distances. And so she doesn't love dog toys. She does not love that. Those actually scare her sometimes, and she's never had an interest in them. But not long after I got to Ashton, I knew there would be vet bills. I figured they would be typical vet bills, I guess. Maybe it was the Lord preparing my heart for, what has been over the past few years. But I just asked the Lord because I knew I was on a fixed income. And I asked the Lord, Lord, what am I supposed to do about these vet bills? I forget exactly what I said, but I remember what the Lord told me to this day. This is why I love her, but this is a big reason why I try my best, just to trust the Lord and take care of her. He told me, I gave you this blessing. Take care of your blessing. And trust me, anyone who hasn't taken the time to know Ashton and work through her anxiety of them trying to get to know her, they're missing out. Because Ashton truly is a blessing. And I don't know what I would do without her. And I'm so thankful God answered my prayer. I prayed for her. I really did. I don't have kids of my own, so Ashton and my niece and nephew are my kids. And I pray God blesses me with many more years. Jumping ahead, as I said, she was diagnosed with seizures. Last Thursday night, she had literally like a 10-minute seizure. I didn't know she was going to come out of it or what was going to happen. And I'll explain her seizures in just a minute. But the next night, I talked to the vet the next evening, and he told me the 10-minute seizures could not continue. So he upped the dose of the seizure medication he put her on last week. She's on 2 now. He upped the dose of the second one. And this week has been like a breath of fresh air. She's still having them, but they're shorter and more tolerable, thank God. The reason the 10-minute ones cannot continue, seizures make their fever spike sometimes, and it can make them spike very, very high. This can do brain damage and fry their organs if it's, continues. But my grandmother and I started a prayer group on Facebook. It's called Prayers for Ashton. And I really appreciate everyone who's taken time to pray for us, and I ask them to continue, because it is working. I see Ashton, she's more playful in her little way of playing, and she wags her tail more. This week I've noticed her balance is better, and those prayers are working. I don't know how people don't believe in God, but I couldn't make it without him. I don't know what God has in store for the future, but I'm just going to cherish every day with my little girl. And that's pretty much our story. Prayers answered, and God's in the center. And I know to most people, dogs are that. They're just dogs, but she's my little girl, and that's the story.